Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, and Bill Belichick all in the span of 24 hours. I guess what they say is true. Everything does come in threes. Welcome everybody to JJ9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared9, representing the 904 from the 602, and today we have the breaking news announcement that Bill Belichick is no longer the head coach of the New England Patriots, the longest tenured coach in the NFL from 2000 on with the Pats. He is officially out after 266 wins. He has 302 all-time, if you count his time with the Browns, the third most in NFL history. 6 Super Bowl wins with the Pats, 9 appearances in the big game, one of the greatest coaches of all time. He is officially out in New England. We're going to break it down really quickly. Now, here's the thing with Belichick. As a coach, he still had it. As a coach, he is still one of the best in football. I still really believe that. As a defensive genius, he's still there. There weren't any dumb decisions he had this season. This is not like a Chuck Noll situation at the end of his time with the Steelers or Tom Landry at the end of his time with the Cowboys where they just didn't have it anymore as a head coach. Bill Belichick still has it as a coach. He had that 3-game stretch where they allowed 10 or fewer points in all of them, so I've got no complaints with the coaching. The problem, obviously, with Belichick is you look at the power struggle. You look at the fact that he has complete control over the roster, and his drafting has not been good. His coordinator hires have also not been good. Let's look at that, too. They fell apart after Josh McDaniels left to take the job of the Las Vegas Raiders, that head coaching position. You hire Matt Patricia as your offensive coordinator in 2022, and that was a complete disaster. You hire a guy that never coached on that side of the ball before. You have him develop Mac Jones. That didn't work out. You bring Bill O'Brien in this year. It was the second worst offense in football. There's been no development with Mac Jones whatsoever. He's gotten worse each year from year 1 to year 3. Jones is going to be on his 4th offensive coordinator in 4 years, wherever he is. The offensive side of the ball was not there. And again, you can overcome that if the drafting is fine, but Belichick's drafting has not been great at all. Chad Ryland, he drafted him in the 4th round this year, spent a high capital pick on a kicker when they had Nick Folk last year, who was one of the more solid kickers in football. Yeah, his leg wasn't that strong, but he was still pretty accurate. This year, Chad Ryland, worst kicker in football. The receivers have been awful that Belichick has drafted as of late. You think Tyquan Thornton, 2 touchdowns in 2 seasons. N'Keal Harry was a massive bust that I think a lot of us saw coming a mile away because he couldn't create separation whatsoever at Arizona State. Demario Douglas could be good, but the last receiver he's drafted that actually made a legit impact, you got to go back to Julian Edelman all the way back in 2009. It has been a while. My guess is that Belichick was not going to cede power. He was not going to give up the GMing side, was not going to give up the football operations side, and that's why they had to make the change. And if that is true, then it was the right move. Look, Belichick still has as a head coach, but the talent has not been there, and you can blame Belichick for that completely because he has control over the roster. The drafting has been bad. The free agent signings have not panned out. The development of the players on offense have not been good, especially at the franchise quarterback spot with Mac Jones. It just has not worked out as of late. This seems like the right move to part ways if it came down to that. But that raises the obvious question. What is next for both Belichick and the Patriots? Now, for the Patriots, you're looking at guys like Jerron Mayo, but the obvious call that they're probably going to make is Mike Vrabel. And as a side note, it makes the Titans firing look that much more stupid. Amy Adams-Strunk said that the process was going to take too long to possibly work out a trade with Vrabel and see if he could go to the Patriots. You just have to wait a day. You just had to wait 1 freaking day. Is that too long? Like, come on. You could have gotten that done. But either way, Vrabel is probably going to be an option. He's got the ties there, obviously played in New England for a bit. He'll get a call. Jerron Mayo is going to get a call. He's going to get a lot of looks. I really like what he's doing defensively. But for Belichick, you figure if he wasn't willing to cede power in New England, that he will only go to a spot where he has complete control. It wouldn't make sense otherwise to leave New England if you're not going to have complete control over the roster wherever you go. So you figure a situation like the Chargers makes a ton of sense. They don't have a GM right now. Telesco was fired. The Chargers have their quarterback, Justin Herbert, so they don't have to worry about developing him and drafting him. They have offensive skill players in place. It's a situation where Belichick could just come in there right away and he would have complete control over the roster. You have no power struggle with the GM. He would be completely in charge of the operation, and you don't have to worry about developing the offense because the offense is already in place. So I could see Belichick to the Chargers. Patriots, you figure Mayo or Vrabel was probably the favorite for the head coach. But again, the reason why the Pats probably parted ways with Belichick, and we'll know more in the future, probably the power struggle that came about with Belichick not willing to give up his control of the football operations side. But what are your thoughts? Do you think the Patriots made the right move in letting Belichick go? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Where do you think Belichick winds up, and where do you think the Patriots go next? And that's going to do it for this episode of JJ9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to follow me on my main channel, Jarrett9, where we talk all things NFL all the time. Until next time, Jarrett9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.